Chris has been with the Ozark Chinquapin Foundation almost from the beginning, right, Chris? Pretty much. And he does a lot of work for the foundation, but he also works with the Arkansas Agriculture Group. He's one of the foresters. He's got a several county area. And as it turns out, he is a wealth of information. He really pays a lot of attention to what's going on with the trees, where they live, and what people know about the trees from the past. And that kind of sharp attention to the present and the past helps us to point to the future. So Chris is going to talk to us a little bit about growing chinkapins without watering. He's been doing kind of an ongoing series over the last several years where he comes in and says, okay, here's what we learned so far. The next year it's, okay, here's what else we've learned. So I really think this is going to benefit a lot of us because you have times where you can't water, or you have places where it's really inconvenient to water, and then there's other places where maybe you should. So I really have interest in what he's going to talk about. So let's welcome Chris Wyatt to the stage and let him talk to us about the watering chinkapin.
All right, appreciate you coming out. How many years this is the first time you've been to an annual meeting? Man, let's give them a hand clap. This is a big crowd, I think, and a pretty crowd. I ain't saying the past crowd was ugly, I'm just saying these are pretty right here. Heard John Hagee say, if you're young, take pictures, take lots of pictures. You ain't going to look as good as you are in a few years. So. You may have done peaked out and going down. But we're going to talk about growing chinkapins. When I say without watering, I'm still saying if you're watering, you're better off than not watering, but sometimes you can't. It ain't always possible. Oop, thought I'd blown up something.
No, you're good. You might have to push a little harder.
Push and hold.
Oh,
like that. All right, trying to pick out a spot. Sometimes we got much, if you only got a quarter-acre lot, you ain't got a lot of options probably where you're going to plant trees at, but if you got much land, I picked out several sites. Sometimes we're looking at the soils map, topo map, where this one plot's at. I'm mainly talking about 4 plots today. That's mainly what I've been dealing with. And anyway, two of the plots this year had done really good. One of our sandiest plots is one of the best ones we had this year. 2 other plots kind of make me cry if I told you all the details. But anyway, that's I don't get too depressed when it dies the first year, but after I've been watering 2 or 3 years and it dies, oh man. But some things are beyond your control no matter what you do there. But anyway, one area I picked out here was I'm about to squeeze this thing in 2 here.
Point it toward the computer.
How about that? Go toward the computer? All right. Right here is one of the main grow tubes we use, Forestry suppliers. This is solid. I really think the ventilated is a little better. No matter what you're doing, before too long, you need to get your tube off there outside it. Like the other day when Noah had those going, he was really happy how it was going. Then they started going clunky. I said, you better take the tubes off there. But they got a lot of deer, like most places. The deer's going to get them bad, but better have it chewed up on than none at all, I'm thinking.
Is that because of heat?
Heat, yeah. I measured, was that last year, before last, 134 degrees. I think I got some slides about that, 134 degrees. When all the leaves are down inside that tube and it's 134 degrees, they're going to get about had it. But anyway, you need a grow tube. The way they had Matt had the fine hardware cloth, I call it, and that'd keep critters out. But later on, you know, the leaves get through that. Even those little vents, the leaves start thickening through them little vents. That'll cause you some trouble. But this right here is better than nothing. Get old cheap over there and cut the bottom out and leave the lid off. All right, here's a survey we done a couple of years ago. Hope we'll send one out this fall. 301 responses, 203 of them used tree shelter, about 2/3. So I thought that's pretty good. pretty expensive, the mailing of the tubes and getting them. And when we get those, the bigger ones, I like them, but as they get down to small, it's 5 in a bundle, they're pretty dinky. I really think that, if you had a lot of money like the Rockefellers, you might throw the little ones away and stay with the big ones, but if you got $10, they'd say, I'm gonna try it anyway. Right here is kind of the ground that we plant in a lot. Also, I'm not gonna talk much about the planting. I can kill a cactus personally. I usually tote and fish on my deal, unless somebody else. But water goes down quick. In Newton County, there's like 52, 53 different soil types. I need to talk to some of the NRCS folks. Across the whole state, they're bound to be thousands. So there's so much variation, anything I tell you is probably not going to cover the whole range of the Chinquapin. This is more probably North Arkansas, South Missouri here, with those things we're talking about. I know I used to dig ginseng quite a bit, and if you're digging ginseng, you're usually in the north slopes, east slopes, bottom hollers. Well, I read one time up in Wisconsin, look for ginseng on the south slopes a lot, but you know, it's colder up there. But look, you dump this water out, and now the next slide I can tell you how quick it went down. Some of the trees I planted, I dug these little trenches. And then this ground is a lot of rocks and very little dirt involved. I think I drowned most all the new plants I planted this year. Every year when a tree dies, I do what I call an autopsy on it. I go back, we dig it up, if it grew 2 inches and died, I make a note of that, dead 2 inches. If we can't find the seed, I said gone. But I try to get a fifth or a pattern if there's only a certain, we got all the species of where that tube is. But I like to figure out what went haywire so I can try to change next time. That water there, the old cat litter jug was gone in 6 minutes. And I think in this highly draining soil, after a while, this fine sediment gets in there, and even though that's just gravel more or less, this soil type here is called the Clarksville. It's in a lot of plots. But I think after dumping that a few times in big rains, you dump that on there, it would take much longer for that to go down. Also, this past spring, when it was doing all that raining, I thought, man, it's going to be the growingest Chinquapin you've ever seen. And 2 of our plots, it's the killingest rain I ever seen. One raw station, a weather station, close to where Terry and I live at Silver Hill, on the Park Service land there. In April, 14.5 inches. 1 month, 14.5 inches. That's about 3 to 4 times normal. So I wouldn't doubt with me digging a pond and then the rain 14.5 inches. A lot of them that only got 1 inch or 2 tall, and we plant them usually late March, early April. We probably, I think underwater, not enough water kills trees more, but I think this year was too much water. I watched Springfield News on the TV a lot, Channel 3. But anyway, they set up their records from 1880 something, or, can everybody hear me? I ain't using this, but if you hear me, I got pretty good lungs. But anyway, they said that's the most rain they've ever had in Springfield. And they've been keeping records since the 1880s or the 1870s. And they didn't have much that Silver Hill had. And I'm only like 8 or 10 miles. But we had rain. You'd hardly believe it now. You go up there and look like the Sahara Desert, I call it. It's dry. But anyway, it's a tough year. Look there, that tube's hot. Like that's low, 110 degrees. Right here's some in the past, this whole slide here, but on August 3rd of 23, solid tubes, see 100 outside, 117 in the tubes at 1:50 p.m. Vented tubes, 93 outside, 103 in the tubes, 6:45. So the sun was getting down a little lower. Tubes get hot. Still bleeding tubes. in 4 plots. One's got 108 tubes in it. 107 tubes, take it back. 107 tubes, 69 tubes, 35 tubes, 40 tubes. Those 4 plots. Now this tree was planted in 2020. No, 2021. When this tree was 2.5 years old, it made about 10 nuts. This is the earliest we've had any out of those 4 plots I'm telling you about, and we've replanted them different times. And the guys said it's a little green, so they're going to leave it and come back Monday. It's like on Thursday. They came back, the critters ate all the nuts except one. But I got this one, it's growing in other plots. We put it back in another plot. So, and also this was one of our growingest trees. I forgot how tall this thing was. Since then, this tree, the top died out, it went back to sprouting up from the ground. So anyway, you think you got it made, you don't. If you replant a tree, also check the website. They got some excellent photos and stuff on there how to plant trees. But anyway, I'll show you more pictures about this plot here in a minute. Right here's something we didn't do in the old days. I believe in this. Get some of this pepper and put it around your tube. That'll knock a lot of critters back. I think since we started using this, also we put where we go, it's got a lot of rock. We make a little rock around the base of the tube, sprinkle some of this maybe in the tube and around the tube. I think we virtually stopped mice from getting things. Now after it rains a lot, of course it'll be down in Mississippi, but I believe in that stuff. Straw, mulch, that'd help you out whether you're going to water or not. Okay, let's see. Whoop.
Just hit it again, that same button, there you go.
Is this top on the pointer? Oh, there we go. See this row right here? This is the plot that's got the 107 tubes. We kind of done an experiment on purpose. Those right there that never been watered. This is, you can see the kind of dirt. Not much dirt and rocks. This is that Clarksville soil facing southwest. It gets hot. But we're seeing how did these right here sick come out? All right. You see this right here? That's one of the 6. You see this behind it? I think that's planted the same year. I don't know if you can see it's got burrs on it. These tubes are 4 foot, so that tree is probably maybe 6 foot tall. You can see that's probably about 10 to 12. Exact soil type, then it's probably about 30, 40 foot apart. If a tree dies at a spot, I don't recommend, used to we'd be lazy. Well, we got the rebar in, let's just plant right back in the same spot. If it bombed out the first time, it's probably going to bomb out the second time. So now we usually, get that rebar out, and sometimes that ain't easy. One thing that works good, I've done surveying 40-something years, and I've got rebar out of some bad plots, but if you got some curved jaw vice grips, clamp it on that rebar and twist it as you're pulling up. You can get it out, but if it's really wedged in a tree roots or really rocks, you might say, forget it, go get another rebar. But you can see how much difference they are. I'm really surprised well, we got some more slides here on it. All right, there's the no water. Cerisa Lespedeza was taking over America. But anyway, sometimes the shade might help you out more than it hurts. The trees are tall enough that they should, Cerisa, I ain't seen it too tall. I don't know how tall it gets, but they should stay above that, so we'll probably just leave it be. Here's something we started doing a year back, that little tag. Maybe say number 1, but anyway, we used to ride on the tube. Well, every year it'd fade out, and you got to go back, change the tube. But also, the old crooks got in there, they don't know that what that tube's in there, what kind of genetics, what tree that's off of, that seed. And we've had trouble with people being kind kind of ornery before. You wouldn't think it. All right, here's another one of the no water ones. See, this is in the back. I think that's the same tree, really. But they're not doing as good. But there's, they're still alive, most of them. We have had to replant those. I did go back and look a few times, those 6. I thought these are some extra good looking birds here. Let's see, I took that picture. I think it's 8/4, I get August 4th. But that's the first year for this tree to make birds on it. We put wire screens, I'll get some pictures that I'll show you here in a minute. How much time I got left? I'm trying to go fast.
You're doing good.
All right, I don't want to go to the big house. All right, right here is a row of this plain plot that's got 107 tubes in it. I don't think this is going north right here from this end up. So this is real close to running north-south. So it's shade, heavy shade in the morning. This hardly gets any sun in the morning. I don't think I'd have to go back and look. We've had to replant any of those trees. They was first planted in 22, I think. But at the same time, since 22, not a one of them has come out of the tube. You seen those other no water ones out in the sun? They died more, but they have come out of the tube. All right. Now this is from, I guess a little bit back here. No water tube 6. There's when they was planted, 22. We measured. The first year, 33% died. Median high, 13 inches. All right. The next year, we replanted the 2 trees. The replants grew 8 inches tall that year. All right. The original 4 trees was 52 to 63 inches. The 4 that lived from the original planting. The water trees, median high 59, the water trees 65 inches. So you think, well, only 6 inches difference with no water. Yeah, we had 2 double mortality too, though. See, out of this 1 year planting, we planted 25 of these, 16% of those died. So you kind of got to offset maybe if you don't water, having more mortality and less growth. But if you can't do it, you can't do it. All right, here's a new plot. 35 tubes in this plot. We just planted this year. We cleared this off with a dozer. North slope, some of it pretty steep, some of it probably 35% slope. And I was kind of thinking when it was raining in cats and dogs, I thought, them steep hills, they may be going right down to Mississippi, that Chinquapin seed, I don't know. These are bird weeds. I don't know if you know your weeds very good. There's plenty of them in there. Probably some of them about maybe 7 foot tall. But I think on this north hill, I'm expecting better survival, but slower growth. See how it works out. Here's another spot. This kind of this plot's roughly a ½ acre. It's about 240 feet running east and west, and about 100 feet going north and south. So kind of a rectangle. This is kind of on the less weedy spots there on the whole deal, probably. All right. That ain't Bigfoot's hand. That's Doug's hand. So if you think it looks spooky there, blame him. We did have if you keep up Bigfoot and all that, we did have a handprint that somebody, I'll take a picture of that, you get tickled there. He thought he got a Bigfoot's hand on his game camera. It wasn't far from where Chinquapin is. I kind of had my doubts about it, but maybe, I don't know. But anyway, when a tree died, I don't know what killed it. Sometimes it's hard to decide. But we try to find out best we can. All right, we're measuring that little cuss. See that grass around that? Wheat straw. He said it didn't thrash out all the seed good. But we'll probably, usually I do one a year, usually like October, about the end of growing season, I like to. But since we've done this in early August, I think trees are probably still dying because the drought up our ways. I hadn't had a less than a 10th inch of rain at my house in about a month or over. And in 2 months, it's been less than 2 inches. A bunch of days over 100 degrees. Started out being the rainiest weather I could ever remember in my life. You know, around this neck of the woods, but it's changed up quite a bit, and that's pretty common, really. All right, I don't know if you know your invasive species very good. Ailanthus. These are the worst little critters. There's one up there. In Newton County and in Carroll County, I work in 3 counties mainly. I don't believe there's 1 square mile that ain't got ailanthus in it. And when these things get established, they're bad news. The first year, there's one that edges this plot about 5 to 6 foot tall. That'd be slow growth. The next year, we don't plan on whacking it down for long. Probably herbicide. Some of these close to a growing tree, we'll probably try to pull them out with my hand. I don't want to kill off what few survive by, herbicide, but these things, if you cut a tree off, one guy said, I just cut them down. The next year, they grow about 20 foot in 1 year. There ain't nothing native can keep up with the ailanthus. So I'm sure you got them too, but ailanthus is the worst. Right here's got not a good slide. I should have got a close-up. I call it careless weed. Gets you in your garden quite a bit, but it's got stickers on it, so I'll grab that and pull it out here and you grab your gloves on if you're going to fight that. But there's not too many of them in there, thank goodness. All right. Fighting squirrels, public enemy number 1. Try to get you a good squirrel dumpling recipe or whatever, learn how to cook better than I do. But squirrels, and Steve said they're already attacking before he left Missouri. Open up, they'll go tear the birds apart. So right here's these little deals we put on. I think that's a aluminum screen, 2 foot wide. Usually make about a 2 foot piece folded over. And this on here is just, probably wouldn't need this maybe, but this edge has got where we've been cutting. Be a poking you a lot if you didn't put something on that. All right, see how that, open that up. You got to kind of be careful when you slide it down on. Depending on how big you got, maybe you might get the end of 2 or 3 branches on there. Don't use nylon screens. Some maybe a little older might remember they used to have nylon screens. They just chew right through them. You get a bad year of grasshoppers, they'll eat your screens up. Grasshopper, yeah. But I'm really surprised. I thought about this the other day. What's the most important job anybody's doing with Chinquapins? And I got thinking. Well, a lot of things are important. I really think the number 1 thing is people that's teaching other people about Chinquapin. The Cherokee Nation there, man, that's great, ain't it? Terrence there and his associates. This thing on Chinquapins has been out of the loop for a long time. When I was a kid, I was born in '59, they was kind of going clunky then pretty bad. But I ate Chinquapins about every year my whole life. My mom and dad said they didn't live on them, I don't think they got to eat, but they knew where the Chinquapins was at, they got some every year. When I was a kid, before I got 16, I get a job, black walnuts and blackberries. That's my main income source. I knew where a walnut tree was for miles. That was about better than blackberry patch. But now that farmers sprayed all their blackberries, they're hard to find. probably have to do a different occupation. All right, see how we slide them down? Then we take the stapler and staple them. So a squirrel, they probably go on to another. You probably just follow them. We didn't try to get the whole tree, but we got 11 trees with nuts on them. This is the first year in this plot. So we're going to try to, they already run the blight resistant testing on them, but we're trying to have at least 11 new species of trees off to put in their other plots this year. All right. People's having, I call it bad luck, pitiful success, really. Of this survey, half the people, 103 people had 0 trees alive out of the 5 or 6 we sent that year. 53 had 1. So half the people that answered this survey, and probably the ones that didn't answer it, I ain't answering that, I ain't about all that money. But we want to up your success ratio. We don't want you to get depressed. Like I say, I had some, one plot that really bombed out this year. I had some trees, 4th growing year, 12 foot high, dead. Oh man, what else could we have done different? But you can see down through here, Doug could probably look it up on the survey. 6 people said it. 9 people said 6. I guess we was out 6 seeds. 9 people said they had every seed lived. So they may ought to get a Nobel Peace Prize or something. I don't know. That's amazing. But anyway, we want you to up your success. Things that might help you out. All right, here's a few things. And I'm going to get out of the way. Plant late March or early April. Now I'm saying that may not be good if we send you something in Nebraska or somewhere. But North Arkansas, if you got climate like that, South Missouri. I've noticed the later you get them in, especially if you wait till May, it's going to be poor success. Now right here's something that I think that didn't do so much in the old days. Plant on north or east facing slopes. That's the same soil type is going to have more moisture, so it's going to be cooler. Wish I'd done that. I may do that sometime. I would say it's 10 degrees hotter on the south slope than the north slope around our area. Go back to the website, it's probably best, but or the Facebook or website, review the directions, try to follow them best you can. Sometimes it's good to leave a few small trees for shade. They like sun, but you can cook anything. I used to tell somebody you can cook a sand lizard. You need some shade. Use a tree shelter. A little bit of money, but plant less and use tree shelters. Use straw. Well-drained soils. If you got clay, any of y'all been in here down to Brad Robbins' property down around Greenbrier? They've had different tours. Was it last year? Last year he was the tree farmer of the year in Arkansas. And he was going for the southeastern United States tree farmer. I had never heard how that come out. But anyway, we helped work with him on a Chinquapin plot. And I thought, that's kind of neat. I said, go back and review the records, see if anybody else tree farmer of the year ever had a Chinquapin plot. I'm saying no, probably not. But anyway, where he planted them wasn't that good. When we went to look, it's kind of sandy, but it's kind of clay mixed in. I thought, oh gosh. But he wanted to plant them where he could look out his house, look across the cow pasture and see the trees. He said there used to be existing Chinquapins up on the, pretty flat around Greenbrier, but a little hill there. He said there used to be a wild Chinquapin growing. That's a pretty good indicator. That's better size, but there's already kind of proofs in the pudding there. But anyway, he wanted to plant down there we see it from his house. We've had pretty poor success, but there's still some that make it. Plant towards the top of the slope. When you get down the hill, usually the ground's poor, but for sure the frost. Some of these plots we got is probably maybe 100, 125 foot difference in elevation from the top to the bottom. That could be enough to frost get you. They're blooming late, so that helped, but still we get late frost sometime. So that's a few things you might think about. A lot of that, on that 25-foot spacing too, we used to go 20-foot spacing, but Steve thought we ought to space that out a little bit more. So that's about, about 25-foot space is about 70 trees per acre, 69 trees per acre, I think. So anyway, that's all right. If you want to call me or send me an email, I'll try to help you out. If you're in Boone, Newton, or Carroll County, I'll probably go to your house and take a look-see. If you're somewhere else, the boss man may get after me. Maybe I go a little farther, but I'll not be roaming the whole state there. All right, we got any questions? You want to go on?
We're good. Take some questions.
All right, a few questions. Speak loud. I can't hear good. I'm going to be around here. Go ahead.
Where do I get a soils map?
Usually they go on the internet, web soil survey. I've got an old soil map. Maybe the NRCS may have some old books laying around. If you're in Carroll County, back about 30 years ago maybe, I got a job one time moving soil books for Marion County Soil Conservation District. I think we moved 5,000 and something books. I'm saying somewhere if they ain't rotted, they still got some of them laying around. But I've got one personally. I don't know the web soil survey real good, but it's kind of neat. You get kind of a new picture of your property, and you can read a lot of things. It'll tell you how productive your soil is. I like the old books because I'm more familiar with the paperbacks. But them's, I'm going to say the new ones are probably 30-something year old, but I would think the soil would stay the same pretty much. But you might check the NRCS. If not, they may give you a few pointers. Or if you're kind of some of the younger folks there, you're probably pretty good computer people, so you might just go to punching buttons, figure out that whole thing in a hurry there.
Chris, if I can address that, the soils maps, University of California, Davis, actually has a nationwide soil map set up from the old NRCS and soil SCS maps. But if you look up, if you search for UC Davis and then soils, then that'll take you there. Of course, when you go to their homepage, what it'll do is it'll take you back to where UC Davis is. You'll have to zoom out and scoot on over to Arkansas. But the good thing about that is all of those little polygons in there, you click on those things and they'll give you the soil type and the drainage and all that kind of jazz, so you can lay eyeballs on that. So there's
All right. No, I didn't know that. That's good. I appreciate Robert too. He reminds me about the master naturalist. I never worked with them until a few years ago. And they're working towheads, I'd call them.
especially that.
I work with the master gardeners. They're good. But they can't keep up with the master naturalist. I'll say that. I go to somebody's house sometimes looking at a sick tree or whatever, and they got just a beautiful yard and garden and everything. And I said, I bet you're the master naturalist guy. But and one lady, usually people love watching deer and stuff. And I seen she had electric fences around everything. And I said, you got deer trouble? Said, I hate them. She said, and I thought, most people, we used to do field days pretty often. We do forestry and wildlife usually. If we had forestry only, we put out a lot of effort, 15, 20 people show up. Well, if we had forestry, wildlife, plus I went out and scrounged some money, got a free lunch, I think that helped a lot. We'd have 40 or 50 show up. Most people, whether you hunt or don't hunt, people really like watching their varmints out jumping around. But that one lady got tickled me, older me, so I call her older. But anyway, I said, I hate them. like she'd like to shoot every one of them. But anyway, wildlife's a big draw for most people. All right, one more question, I'm gonna get out of the way.
Is anybody in this part of the state that's got experience or expertise in Ozark Chinquapin site?
I'm sure we got some members, Doug'd be the best, here, Doug might be, and keeps up membership, but we got members all over. It's probably a little more known up north part. I'd say North Arkansas and, southern Missouri is, the thickest they are, but they're, all these states, I really think I've read before that chestnut blight killed 4 million American chestnuts. 4 billion. But I really think it killed more Ozark Chinquapin because they cover a lot more range. I don't think in the day, the way I can hear it, there was any American chestnut west of the Mississippi. So there's a whole bunch of states got Chinquapins in the west of Mississippi. Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Kansas, Oklahoma. What else? There wasn't no all them states, there wasn't. So I don't know, I've heard different people cite that Chinquapins was 2% of the population. We got guys, I need to check down there, that works in Forestry, that does these plots. Continuous every 5 years, they go back to a plot. And they can tell you their estimate real accurate how many trees are in the whole state. Probably within 5–10%, I'm sure. But I tell you, ash trees, I don't know if you got ash trees, they're going down like the Titanic up our way. Emerald ash borer. So if you like ash trees, that's where, when I find mushroom morels, I see an ash tree, I go check it out. There ain't gonna be many look around in a few years, something different don't happen. I really think after the blight resistance is number one, Leslie kind of getting that going, but I believe being able to take a drought may be number two. Here you look on the sides, we've had an average year for rain.